Hi everyone. Today I'm going to start a new lesson called lean production. That is really important because that's a wonderful lesson because that's introduced by a Japanese Toyota people. So while if you follow this lean production, I'm pretty sure then your organization will be really successful. So what is lean production? We'll move on to the some small video clip. In the beginning, I wanted to take you to a small video clip about the introduction of the lean production. So you can see how lean production now introduced by the Toyota production system, a TPA system. Let's first of all look at what is lean and what is the meaning, little bit history about the Toyota and history about the lean production, and we'll come back to our normal discussion. Okay, here we go.
10 million a year. Its success is rooted in a special system that began what's now known as lean manufacturing, and even by companies around the world to make products faster, cheaper. Here's how Toyota changed the way we make things. Following the Second World War, Japan was left in a precarious economic position. Steel and other metals are scarce. Already disadvantaged by lacking natural resources, materials were hard to come by, and companies had to be creative to compete. Toyota's founder, Sekiichi Toyoda, had started a loom business, but it was his son Kichiro who founded the motor company in 1937. They were used to working within narrow margins. As the shortage of materials increased during the war, the number of headlamps on its Model K truck was reduced to one, and it only had brakes on one of the axles. The turning point for Toyota's production system would come in the early 50s, when Kichiro's cousin Eiji would travel to the US with a veteran loom machinist, Taiichi Ono. They visited Ford's River Rouge plant in Michigan and were impressed by the scale of operation, but knew that in cash-strapped Japan, companies didn't have the resources for such a system. Having months' worth of stock sitting in a warehouse would tie up precious capital they didn't have. Instead, what truly impressed Ono was a visit to a supermarket, a Piggly Wiggly, according to legend. Japan didn't really have self-service stores at this point, and he was struck by the way customers could choose exactly what they wanted, when they wanted. He decided to model his production line on a similar idea. With the supermarket formula, only enough parts were produced in the first phase to replace what was used in the second, and so on. This is where the just-in-time system really took shape. Toyota was able to eliminate much of the waste in Ford's system, making smaller numbers of parts to be used when it needed them, allowing the company to operate on a tighter budget. As part of this, Ono developed Kanban, a sign-based scheduling method which shows goods in production, and goods out. It's now seen as a precursor to barcodes. Ono and Toyota also noticed that American car companies were still employing Henry Ford's early production techniques. They kept operations at full tilt in order to maximize efficiencies of scale, but then had to repair defective cars after they rolled off the line. Ono believed this caused more problems and didn't encourage workers or machines to stop making the mistake. So he placed a cord above every station which any worker could pull to stop the entire assembly if they spotted a problem. The whole team would work on it to prevent it from happening again. As teams identified more problems, the number of errors began to drop dramatically. Combined with a culture of continuous incremental improvement called Kaizen, the Toyota production system built a brand known for making reliable and affordable cars. But Toyota was really good at producing cars quickly. In 1962, the company had 1 million vehicles. By 1972, they'd produced 10 million. It was around that time that the efficiencies of their factories enabled Toyota to produce a car every 1.9 hours, much lower than their competitors in the US, Sweden, and Germany. And as the oil crisis of the decade sent gas prices higher, cheap-to-run Japanese cars became much more appealing to Americans, whose powerful but gas-guzzling vehicles suddenly became very expensive to run. Today, Toyota has made over 250 million vehicles. Others have looked to them to learn the lessons of lean, combining craft with mass production, avoiding waste while striving for constant improvement. Boeing is perhaps the most famous, restructuring a plant to better suit TPS. Intel is another long-time lean ambassador and is exploring the principles in the context of AI and the Internet of Things. A Canadian hospital even used Toyota's system to decrease wait times in its ER. The Toyota production system changed not just how cars are made globally, but how we approach making things full stop. It also showed that there's always a better way to make a product.
Okay, guys, you might sometimes you heard it, the lean production. So today my main lesson is lean production. We talk about the Toyota way. We talk about a little bit of the history about the lean production. So today our main focus is mainly to find out about the lean production. What is lean and what are the main principles of lean and how this lean production will actually important for an organization to improve the productivity of the organization and efficiency. So as you know that the little short video clip about the Toyota manufacturing system, the Toyota production. So we found out that the lean production in Toyota now they actually contribute into 250 million vehicles in 2062, only like a but 10 million vehicles, but now 120 million vehicles they are producing. You can see now the lead production, how they improve the organization, how they reduce the wastage and everything by using different approaches like just in time, Kanban method and everything. So all these methods we are going to uh, identify here, we are going to explore here main methods of lean production. Okay, the lean principle we can find out from a little small, like a small case study. Recently, you can see the Goldstone Holding. Goldstone Holding is a market equipment for gym and fitness centers. It has two plants and employ 94 people. Look at this case study. You can see here. They are mainly you can see like we have a company called Acer Marketing, something like that. The same thing, Goldstone Holding. They have 94 people are working. That means it's a kind of medium scale business organization. Because if you have less than 49, we categorize that as a small business according to European Union definition. So between 50 to 250, we find out that's the medium term organization, and then about 250 we find out this is the large scale organization. So like that, organizations are there, and this will be always giving some kind of a you can see this as a result of the some introduction of the Japanese production method. So this Japanese or the Toyota way is a really important thing. That's because always the Western countries also find out what is this Asians are doing. These Asians are this pretty good in their manufacturing. So as a result of that, they find out this method actually giving some kind of like a huge improvement in their production line. As a result of that, they will be able to improve their production facilities and improve their service and everything as a result of this production method. So you can see the lean production method. As a result of these measures, turnover will increase to 50%. Turnover increased by 50%. Also, uh, production setup time was reduced by 74%. It's a tremendous improvement, right? Uh, what do we mean by turnover? So as a result of the no, like a sales value, sales increased by 50%. Wow, it's cool. And then production setup was reduced by 74%. Production setup time, like if you're like a customer waiting time and everything, reducing by 74%. And also machine downtime was cut by 73. What is machine downtime? Machine downtime, machine idle time, right? Machine idle time reduced by 73%. That's a really good improvement. As a result of that, you can see the organization will be able to succeed in their operations as a result of this. Also, their delivery targets were increased by 21%, and moreover, the production rejection, I mean defects and everything, fell by 50%. It's a huge achievement, you can see, as a result of the investment in staff training and also improve staff motivation. Okay, first question asking how important was staff involvement in Goldstone when trying to actually make more of the improvement. For example, staff training, without workers, without staff you can't do everything, because that's why you can see staff improvement is really important. They are giving some opportunities for to make their own decisions. They are give them some kind of freedom, we call autonomy. We have to give them, and also we have to give them some kind of training and investment in the staff training programs are really important. And ask another question, discussion question. You can see is like a 6 mark analyze question. Also discuss the possible benefits of Goldstone from introducing Japanese production method. Same thing, you can see the application. I think the last para, you can so many advantages, you can benefits, you can find out. Improve the turnover 50% and the setup time reduced by 74%, and they like that. So here we go. We'll see how can this answer can be like mainly organized in a proper manner. Okay, first question: how important staff involvement? Staff involvement recognizes being very important. Yes, Goldstone began making improvement in his operation. As a result of this, more training was organized. Investment in training improved the motivation, right? And also, if business is prepared to have spend considerable amount of uh, on the money on training, it shows the staff involvement is highly valued. Yes, workers like to work in a good organization. We are giving good training opportunities. Not only that, they will value the given autonomy, the authority, encouraging workers to make their own decisions and solve problems is another thing. Staff will given a very tidy up their working environment as a result of this. This is 6 mark. You can see the discuss the possible benefit of Goldstone. You can see the main discussion, always the application. Every single line you can see turnover increased by this amount, production setup was reduced by 74%, machine downtime, machine idle time reduced by 73%, and delivery target improved by 21%, rejection will be like that. So this is all about the application points, dear students. So you can see everyone. If in your organization one day when you're trying to actually adapt a lean production, these are the main benefits you can find out of this. So we talk about the lean production, the history of that thing. So it come from. You can see the we got the Wikipedia. You can find about more about the lean production. Is manufacturing or lean production. We call lean management sometimes a production method derived from Toyota in 1930. Right, it's a little bit pretty old method, but it's lean. Lean in the sense in English word we call it's a reducing the reduction of wastage, something like a lean way. So why we have to lean? Because it's an unnecessary cost. Otherwise we organization will find out how much material, how much employee hours are going to be being wasting by the different situations. So Toyota way was called TPS, Toyota Production System was a term. The lean was actually coined in 1988, 32 years ago, by John Krafik, and defined in 1996 by James Walkman, so in their articles. So precisely from that time onward, this Toyota way was very, fundamental values are there. These values were actually in Western world was developed, and as a result of that, Americans, Europeans, and Western world actually they start following this Toyota method. How they improve this method, and how we can adapt. We can see at the latter part of that previous video. Also, we find out now hospitals actually using this lean production in order to increase the speed of their treatments and everything. And the other organizations also, other vehicle manufacturers in the USA, they're currently using these methods because it's really advantage for organizations. So mainly, you can see we are talking about mainly here the lean production, main some principles. Okay, here we go. So mainly, lean production start with this thing. You can see the lean production here definition. Approach to production aim to reducing the quantity of resources used. That is very easy definition, I believe. Approach to production aimed at reducing the quantity of resources used. So lean production in the approach, so try to reduce the quantity that we are using, but not the quality, right? So quality must be maintained the same level, but try to reduce the quantity of resources that we are using. Resources mean it can be a material, it can be labor, it can be time, it can be anything. There are different resources are there, right? Money, man, materials, method, machines, minutes, even time also can be classified as a, right? All the 6M principle are the resources that we're using. Right? So resources, the main objective is this lean production is to reduce the amount of resources, amount of quantity that we are using in the production. This approach is developed by Toyota. I can see we had to always give that credit to the Toyota, the Japan. And then the Japanese car manufacturer, it's aimed to use the few resources in production. In lean producers use less of everything. This include factory space, material, stocks, suppliers, labor, capital, and time, everything. As a result of that, these are the main benefits of lean production, general benefits, right? So my students, please memorize these points. You can see improve the productivity. Automatically you can see how Toyota, the millions of everything within 1 year, 1962 to 72, they increased their number of production from about 1 million, right? So like that, so increase in productivity, definitely you can increase the number of amounts that you are producing, reducing the cost and cut the lead times, the waiting times and everything. You can cut it off and improve the reliability and speed of the design. Right. Okay, there are some certain things. You can see the lean, if you talk about the lean production and everything, if there are certain pillars of that, they're the lean production. So here we're talking mainly this concept like just in time and Kaizen and different method like that. Just in time method we're talking, and then Kaizen method we're talking, and then there's a right? Mainly, most important one is the just-in-time and Kaizen. Other than that, there are other methods also there like 5S system, right? We're talking about Japanese 5S system. 5S stand for, the sort, set in order, sign, shine, standardize, and sustain. In Japanese word, different Japanese terms also there. Here, 5S system we're talking, and then other methods also like standardization, team working, empowerment. So lean is a more like a family name. You can see under this family there are certain things that we can, certain approaches are there to achieve the lean, like quality circle and multi-skilling method. So altogether, you can see what are the main principles of lean management. Okay, to introduce before we introduce the just-in-time Kaizen and 5S and all these concepts, I would like to show you another small video clip regarding these principles. Okay, here we go.
Approach to operations that seeks to maximize the creation of value for customers and eliminate waste. If that sounds a little confusing, let me explain. Value, in this sense, is any action or process that a customer will be willing to pay for. Waste means any part of the production process that does not add value. Take this very simple example. Imagine a burger bar cafe. 4 staff rush around a great big kitchen. Burgers are kept on one side of the kitchen and plates on the other. Periodically, one member of staff has to take dirty plates upstairs to do the washing up. Although the burger bar is rarely busy, there is a bank of 3 big freezers. The manager buys in bulk to obtain the best possible price. On the basis of sales, the cafe could manage with 1 freezer. Pause the video to answer this question. What waste and inefficiency can you identify in this example? Lean production involves using several interrelated concepts. These concepts are minimizing waste, just-in-time production, Kaizen or continuous improvement, and cell production. Each concept is explained below. Minimizing waste, first of all then. Reducing waste can improve profits. Toyota's former chief engineer, Taiichi Ono, something of a pioneer of lean thinking, identified 7 issues to think about to reduce waste. A good way to remember the 7 wastes is Tim Wood. Number 1, transportation, also called travel time. Every time a product is moved, it stands the risk of being damaged, being lost, or causing delay. In addition, the effort involved represents a cost incurred for no added value, as transport of itself does not add anything from the consumer's perspective. 2, inventory, or stock. Holding some stock may be unavoidable, but holding less stock reduces waste. Number 3, motion. This refers to the unnecessary movement of workers or equipment. A worker constantly walking up and down stairs, for instance, is not doing anything productive, but is adding to production costs. Number 4, waiting. Sometimes a significant part of an individual product's life is spent waiting to be worked on. No value is gained from this waiting time, and it should be minimized. Number 5, over-processing. If complex or expensive tools are used to perform a task when another tool would do the job just as well, there's a waste of resources. Number 6, overproduction. Overproduction means making more products than are needed to meet existing orders. Number 7, defects. Whenever product defects occur on a production line, extra costs are incurred in fixing a product or making a replacement. Another aspect of lean production is just-in-time production, or JIT. Just-in-time production focuses on reducing inventory waste. This is achieved through minimizing stock holding, using just-in-time stock control, and utilizing production capacity. Products are produced just in time to meet orders, not stockpiled. Firms with minimal stock holding are more flexible. They can act more quickly to add value, as they don't have to get rid of much stock before switching to make new products. Kaizen, continuous improvement. This is about everyone continuously striving to improve production, not just management. It requires a decentralized organization structure and regular team meetings. Sometimes workers are given the power to halt production where they see a problem that needs addressing. Workers might be given training to help them be more analytical. The philosophy of Kaizen relies on gradually making small, often quite simple, improvements to processes and activities to improve value through improved quality very often. Cell production is about looking at a production process as a series of separate but interlinked parts rather than one single process. Production workers are grouped into teams or cells. Each cell is delegated responsibility for a particular part of the production process. For example, in the assembly of airliners, one cell may have responsibility for wheels, another cell for landing gear, and so on. Teams are treated as internal customers or suppliers. For example, the team making aeroplane wheels are suppliers to the team that makes the landing gear. Each team has to try to provide value to their internal customers. So, to sum up, lean production is where a number of interrelated concepts can be used to help create value. Lean production involves minimizing waste, just-in-time production, Kaizen, and cell production. You might like to try these activities. Question 1. What is the overall aim of lean production? Question 2. What do you see as the benefits of lean production? To find out more,
Right. So now you know the lean production is interrelated concepts that actually try to increase the value addition of the organization. Interrelated concept, and that we talk about everything. What are types of wastage that they are going to reduce? Like what are the type of the wastage, such as the lead time and the material, the lead-in time and the transportation costs, inventory cost, everything. You can see now we always know that the inventory is our current asset, but according to Japanese people, inventory is a waste. Having inventory, having a stock with you is a waste. Waste of space, waste of money, and other opportunity cost are there of the stocks. But that's why there's a concept they introduced called just in time. Just in time. If you order something just before you require, so no need to have a kind of a stocks with you, right? Don't tied up your money, don't tied up your cash in inventory. That's the Japanese way. That's why they always encourage in just-in-time system. But we have to evaluate how the practicability of the just-in-time and all this concept for the modern organizations, and especially the countries in Asian countries and Western countries where the supply chain network have some problems, because always the just-in-time you have to have a reliable supplier of the supply chain management should be very well handled. As far the Toyota have a method, a solution for that, because they create a Toyota village where all the suppliers are around the Toyota, so they can come within few minutes from their organization, from their factory to main Toyota factory. That's a Toyota village. So that means they can quick their supply chain management, because don't do transport that much in different so on. So they have everything they have actually established in one Toyota village. So that supply chain is very quick and very strong. So that is not practical for other companies in Western world and Asian countries, because we don't have that kind of a village system in our countries. Let's move on to the first method. We can see the just-in-time, as you mentioned. First, we talk about the inventory part. It's a production technique that is highly responsive to customer order and uses a very little stock holding. A highly responsive to customer order. If customer orders something, then that part onward, we are ordering that item, then only are producing. So yeah, you're not using, try to reduce the stock holding costs. That's the meaning of the just in time. So if you haven't have any, imagine like a stock holding, there are certain advantages as there as well as disadvantages. You can see hold any stock of raw material or component, supply have to deliver the resources straight to the production line at regular intervals. Sometimes this might be regular times in a day because you have to order something at that point supply has to come and deliver. So there will be certain number of times supply has to always regularly they have to come. So it will increase the transportation cost as well. Always deliveries always by because you don't have like a one shot supply just several times of a day sometimes you have to order. That's another disadvantage. Produce any goods unless they have been ordered, right? So if they have an order only, I'm going to produce without order. That's why Toyota is still doing, right? That still the organizations and everything they can actually really order that items and everything from anywhere in the world, and this will avoid the need to hold stocks of finished goods. So that's why some organizations are sometimes practical. Even Toyota right now they're doing, they're taking the global orders from different agents and different Toyota companies in the worldwide, and they're from sales then marketing division. Then only they produce the items because they get the orders and everything. So you have to wait a little bit of time unless they deliver it for you. So you get the advantages of the just in time. Cash flow improved definitely because your cash not tied up in the stocks and no waste, out of date or damaged stock. And space is released, right? Material space is released that stocks, and then no stock holding cost. There is no stock holding cost. Like no need to maintain that, no need to like a pest control, or no need to like have a storekeeper, no need to have a supervision, no security surveillance system, no stock holding cost, no theft, burglary, nothing. Strong links with suppliers. That's another advantage. You will build up the good relationship with the supplier, good link with the supplier. It's beneficial for you. And fewer suppliers. Sometimes you can deal with a very few suppliers registered with you, and you can tell them to continuously supply for you continuously. And there are some disadvantages also there in this just in time. Always this kind of question can be possible for you, like an analyze question or 12 marker even evaluate question. How just in time will be important. Evaluate the usefulness of the just in time. So as a result of this just in time system, you can see high ordering and administration cost is there. Because always you have to order something, you have to look at the marketing management, how much orders they are going to give you. Accordingly, you have to order items from the factory. Relies hugely on supply reliability. Supply reliability and advantage of bulk buying may be lost because if you purchase on bulk only, they are giving you discounts, facilities, and hard to cope with the changes in demand. That's another thing, inflexibility. Because if you get a big order at once, sometimes supply won't be able to supply that much of items at once. There are some limitations you can face, and it's vulnerable for breaking supply. In some case, if one supplier actually become a delayed or sometimes not follow the agreement, or sometimes some problem issue happen with the one supplier, the entire production process has to be halted. So the risk is there, the vulnerable to breaking supply. This is the main benefits and limitations, so advantage and disadvantage just in time system. Look at the case study Dell computer. You can see the Dell computer. That's also another just-in-time expert in the USA. You can see Dell, privately owned by US computer manufacturer. In 2015, it became the world leading PC monitor sales by volume. Look at this case study, and it launched a brand new tablet range called the Dell Venue. The design for this range was heavily influenced by the customer feedback, and much of the Dell success resulted from its unique manufacturing approach. Dell was in the first in the market to take the computer according to the precise customer specifications. Dell used the direct selling and used the products were sold online. The customer would place an order on Dell's website listing the various specifications that were required. Right. So what they're asking by giving this information, the Dell computers describe how Dell adapt just-in-time method. So some approaches you can see they deliver tailor-made product at lower cost because in customer order only, then just that time you are producing because you are not producing in advance. So when the customer order comes, then you produce some tailor-made computer. If you want a red color case, you can they put a red color case for you like that. And then they do not have a stockpile of or waiting to be solved like that. So enable to build the Dell to put together the deliver cost very quickly. So what is stockpile? You can see stockpile means a large supply of good and so forth. They are being kept for use for possible use in future. Stockpiling. Right? You can see open your refrigerator and see. You can see the stockpile of foods, vegetables, and other meats, fish. All that items are there. That's called stockpiling. Stocking for the future use. Right. So we'll see how this. What is it? How just-in-time used by Dell. Describe the benefit of just-in-time, and carry out some research to identify another business. Okay. Let's see one and two, the benefits and everything. You can see how Dell computers were good in just-in-time. You can see here the Dell computers. Uh, just-in-time is an approach to production that involves holding low levels of stock. In some cases, right? None at all. Some cases, zero stock level. But we have some very precious and very important, very rare material. Sometimes we have to stock. We can't always depend on suppliers. If the supply is very short, or only depending on the season, we got to continuously we can't difficult to find. Then sometimes it's better to stock a little bit because the seasonal supply is there, right? And also, you can see the organization in some cases, none at all. Suppliers have to deliver inventories straight to the production line in regular intervals, and this might be several times a day. Just in time also means that the goods are not produced unless they have been ordered, and this avoids the need to hold the stocks of finished goods. In this case, you can see the Dell used direct selling, and all of its products were sold online. Everything goes online. A customer would place an order. So direct selling method, direct selling method that talk about under marketing means distribution also. There are certain direct selling methods are there, door-to-door delivery, online selling, and direct distribution. Everything we talk about, we are using this one. So as a result of that, the customer would place an order on Dell's website listing the various specifications that were required, and Dell would then make that computer and ship it out to the customer very rapidly. And Dell also developed special relationship with supplier, another advantage, and persuaded them from to hold inventories of raw materials and components and deliver them very quickly and when they're needed. So they're persuading the suppliers, not them, because they don't want to keep an inventory, but they are telling the suppliers, okay, please you do the stockpiling part for me. When I want your or stocks, I'll call you. Please deliver on that time. They encourage the persuade the suppliers to hold inventory on behalf of them. Yes, so you are giving your stockpiling burden to other one. Right. So you can see as a result of that, this was taken by the Dell's approach. Dell was passionate about the minimizing stock levels, and it relied heavily on suppliers to bear the burden of inventory holding and meeting the very demanding and all times leading time. So second one, you can see the main benefit, the discussion question. You can see as a result of what happened to the company and factory and everything of the Dell computers. Uh, yeah. They describe the benefit to Dell using just-in-time approach. Look at this, very important. The JIT approach allowed Dell to deliver tailor-made product at lower cost. By manufacturing to order, Dell was able to avoid the cost of buying too many components, right? And having to store them because you buy too many items, it increase the storage, and also you have to cash your tied up in the stocks. So your working capital will reduce, right? You can increase the current assets, but you're running out of cash. This case is sometimes known as over trading. Right? Storage and handling costs were reduced significantly. Yes, and it also meant that computers were not being stockpiled waiting to be sold because it's very dangerous by the technology always become very obsolete very easily out of date. It's enabled Dell to put together and deliver products very quickly, and it also saved time, improved cash flow, helped to avoid the waste and damaged stocks and did not waste space. It is also allowed Dell to pass on the savings to their customers, and this helped the business to become one of the market leaders in sales of computers. This is there. This is a competitive advantage, guys. You can see the competitive edge or competitive advantage of the organization is that this organization is actually following just in time. So that also another method, another concept that we can allow the lean production. So you can now identify lean is not a single process, it's a continuous, it's a relationship. There is a combination of the interrelated concepts, like one is a just in time. So one is a just in time. So other one is a Kaizen or continuous improvement. Okay, let's go to a small video clip about these concepts, lean manufacturing, the Toyota production system, and everything. You can find out mainly the main important thing, the Toyota way and everything. All this just in time and Kaizen. And there's another methods are there like Six Sigma and everything, which is beyond our scope. So, but look at this one. You can see the just in time and this one how we are using, right?
Toyota Production System, TPS, also known as the House of Lean, is a useful tool that can help you understand the order in which the lean should be implemented. A house is used because it illustrates how to build a structure that will support itself. The foundation will come first, and the wall must be built before the roof can be put on.
Yeah. So you can see, guys, in this picture, the Toyota production system is actually a standard method. You can see the lean production. There's a customer focus at the end. You can see delivery, quality, and cost is there. But there are some certain pillars are there to deliver that thing. You can see this thing. In our scope, we are talking on mainly just in time. That already actually we discussed about that concept, and the 5S system and the Kaizen system. That is from the 5S and Kaizen, we have the standard work. Standard work is come, and then the stability, the stable organization. And then if you follow the 5S and the Kaizen, then you can find out the other method just in time. And there are other certain concepts are there. You can follow everything called Kanban method, and 5S and other called Jidoka, 5S and the standard work. Different Toyota methods are there, Japanese secrets. So we'll find out what are the secrets to optimize the production and optimize the quality and everything. So you can see it's not a single item, not only is a single method, it's a collection of methods of lean. So as a result of that, you can see the just-in-time system that just now we talk about that thing, how this important, the Toyota method, the just-in-time was improved as a result of this. Look at this video.
I'm Alex Berman, and you're watching Selling Breakdowns. Whenever you buy a complex piece of equipment, such as a TV or a car, do you ever wonder how exactly it all came together? Well, ever since the Industrial Revolution, that how has been a vital question for many businesses. Today, we're going to look at how in post-war Japan, Toyota helped to create one of the smartest production systems that we have, named Just in Time. We'll look at how it works and how you can apply the philosophy and practices to many other areas of your business. After World War II, Japan faced some difficult problems. They didn't have a lot of cash, resources were scarce, and there wasn't a lot of free land to expand factories. However, Taichi Ono at Toyota managed to turn these problems into advantages by slowly creating the just-in-time system. The idea didn't come all at once. It's more that through the 50s and 60s, various changes were implemented and improved until the 70s, where the wider world began to realize the benefits and adopted a similar approach. So, what is just in time? The philosophy is to make the entire production system only work with what it needs and to minimize wait times between each stage. The biggest savings is normally around inventory. Before just in time, a company would keep a warehouse filled with the parts and raw materials it needed. When supplies were getting low, they'd reorder when they had just enough to keep going until the new delivery came. But Toyota realized, what if you just keep making that same order as soon as the next one arrives? That way, you never need to keep this stockpile of spare parts. The cost savings were huge since warehousing is seriously expensive. You need to pay for massive space, power, staff, security, and for all the parts that are just sitting there waiting, not making you money or adding value to your product. And this is the core of just in time. You look at each area of production and ask, is this adding value to the product? If it isn't, Maybe there's a better way to do it. You cut everything down to its most efficient form with almost no room for error, which is where the risk in just in time lies. Toyota used Japan's relatively small size to its advantage. You could rely on suppliers delivering exactly on time because they only had to travel small distances. This is important because if you get problems with supply, it can shut down the whole system. But it's normally worth the risk because the savings are huge on inventory and staff costs. More than this, though, you're forced to create a working philosophy that there's no room for error. You don't have spare parts or spare time, so you have to make sure everything functions perfectly. Often, efficiency comes at the cost of quality, but not in this case. In just in time, you're forced into quality in order to be efficient. That's why it's applicable to many other areas of business. The best way to think about it is if we simplify everything to two approaches: just in time and just in case. With just in case, you're trying to minimize risk by always giving yourself a buffer. You'll carry extra stock so you can swap out faulty items. You'll overstaff certain areas because they've occasionally had too much work to deal with. You'll support a service that just a few customers ask for. With just in time, you don't simply cut these areas and cross your fingers that nothing bad happens. No, you work out how you can avoid them happening in the first place. Because this is money that's wasted unless a bad thing happens, you're effectively investing in mistakes. Better quality control means staff can trust the stock that they have so they don't need a backup. As for workloads, the only reason one department is hit by a workload that they can't handle is because there's not enough visibility between departments. If your sales team know the capacity of production and its current status, then they won't put in an order that can't be filled. And as for offering a service with limited customer appeal, well, maybe you cut it out completely, or you just find a way to merge it with other services so the resources it requires are absolutely minimal. When done well, the just-in-time philosophy should be good for morale too, because the whole point of it is telling your staff, I'm trusting you to perform consistently. And I think most of us respond well to that kind of respect. Want to learn more about business theory and history? Be sure to like and subscribe to be notified of our next.
Right. So, guys, that today's my lesson, I want to mainly focus about the introduction about the Kaizen method, sorry, the Toyota method, and mainly just-in-time method. So, mainly lean and just-in-time is our main focus of our lesson. And we today talk about the sum up the lesson. We talk about the case study Dell. We talk about how they use just-in-time, and we talk about how, as a result of them, what are the advantages they face. And also in the beginning of this lesson, we talk about a goldstone case study as a result of the lead production, what kind of impacts they actually achieved by method, the Japanese production method. So I can see the main advantage like increasing the turnover and reducing the lead time and delivering improvement of the target deliveries and everything we talk about. So today my lesson focuses mainly improving this very important lesson, lean production. Okay, then next lesson we'll move on to the other production methods such as the other lean concepts called Kaizen method and other cell production and other 5S system and everything. We'll move on our second session. Okay, from that I'm winding up my today's session. Then thank you very much everyone. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.